Alright, guys, so I'm back again with the recap slash review for Young Justice, this week's past Young Justice. And as you all remember, guys, don't worry. If you missed the episode, of course, I'll leave a link in the description so you can watch it. So this episode is entitled Intervention. This is episode 44. And this episode, because I gotta put it out there, guys. This episode was actually written by Peter David, who I'm hoping is getting well from the stroke that he suffered not too long ago. Hope he's still recovering very well from it. You're in my prayers, Mr. David. Anyway, so was this episode good? Oh yeah, it was. Especially for any Blue Beetle fan out there, you could definitely can agree that it was good. So this episode, it started March 30th. The date, of course, May 30th. May 30th. It picks up right directly where the last episode left off, and we see Mongo and Black Beetle just slugging it out on War World until pretty much later on, pretty much Green Beetle comes in and pretty much helps Black Beetle and locks Mongo back up in his stasis chamber, and that's where Black Beetle and them states that their attention must go back to finding the key crystal. However, we realize that it was stolen. It was pretty much stolen, so that was it. So they pretty much had to just keep guarding, and they realized that Black Beetle realizes that there's nothing we can do. Just we have to be good little soldiers. And Green Beetle also tells him that the Justice League has the chamber safe. There's another chamber that they need, and that was about it. So we pick up in Metropolis. June, I believe it was like June 13th or so. We pick up, and the Toy Man is roaming around in a giant toy tin soldier trying to rob a bank. However, Blue Beetle comes in and stops him and everything like that, and he starts to pretty much please the crowd and everything and talk to Cat Williams as well. However, we find out that the ambassador is the one talking for Blue Beetle. Jaime can't he can talk, but you can't hear him. He's like trapped inside the scarab, and you see him really trying to say, why am I waving like that? I'm not the Queen of England and things like that, and he's like, Scarab, do something. And Jaime Reyes, I must follow orders. I am under the Reach's control and everything like that. And, you just see that Jaime can't do anything about it. And, he's still conscious, but within the armor, pretty much. That's the basic way I can sum it up. And what he didn't know is that Batgirl and Impulse are watching nearby, which was pretty interesting as well. And that pretty much was a summing up. Like, okay, they're gonna try to do something with Blue Beetle in a sense. Like, why would Impulse and Batgirl be observing him? Things like that. And that really was just really intriguing to me because I was just like, okay, this is getting interesting now. Meanwhile, basically, Ms. Martian travels to Poseidonis. I hope I'm saying that right. To collect Lagoon Boy, so they can have like a talk. That's basically, we knew there was gonna be a talk, and I guess McGann was gonna have the talk with Lagoon Boy. So pretty much after that, guys, Jaime is flying home, and he's still arguing with the Scarab and the Ambassador, everything like that. And that's when Batgirl shoots a clamp onto his leg, and pretty much him and her and Impulse set their plan into motion in a sense, and try to get Blue, disarm Blue, and everything like that. However, um, Batgirl, even with their attempts, Batgirl and Impulse get uh, how can I put it? They get knocked out by the Scarab, and the Ambassador orders the Scarab to kill Batgirl and Impulse. And you see Jaime just pleading with the Scarab to don't do it, and everything like that. The Ambassador he's just really in control, and he's just saying, you're just gonna witness and watch. The first kills are always the worst and everything like that, and Jaime is powerless to do anything. However, suddenly, as soon as he's about to deliver, uh, he gets entrapped in like this force bubble, and we find out that the more he fights it, the stronger it gets. So we figure out who it is. It was created by Rocket. Rocket created it and reinforced it, and it was reinforced by Zatanna, and they captured Blue. It was pretty good. I was like, okay, that was smart. And that was where pretty much back on the bio ship we see Megan break up with Lagoon Boy, who she calls a rebound guy, and it was like, oh man, like, um, but I don't know about that, guys. I was just like, okay. So she broke up with him, you know. But the real story of this was really getting Blue back, and so we see Batgirl, Zatanna, Rocket, and Impulse take Blue Beetle to Binyala, basically, and that's where they are. They take them back there to remember that mission they were on before with the all-female squad. They take them right back to that area, and they're attacked by Queen Bee's minions, Devastation, Mammoth, and Shimmer. But they're pretty much easily dealt with in a sense. But it was kind of weird when I first watched it, because I'm like, that was a little too easy in my opinion. But later on, they enter this ancient like chamber or so, and there's markings of scarabs all over the hieroglyphics, and that's where pretty much Zatanna uh, goes on to tell them like I'm gonna do basically she's gonna do this incantation, and she begins like this mystic ceremony, and right before it starts getting really to the point of like looks like Blue is something's gonna happen to Blue, that's where Green Beetle comes in. He flies in and tries to kill them. However, since Rocket is busy containing Blue Beetle, Zatanna is in like her trance. It's up to Batgirl and Impulse to handle Green Beetle, and they're handling pretty well. I mean, Batgirl takes out like a pellet, and throws like some kind of pellet that makes a fire, and then Impulse makes it a bigger, so it can hurt the Green Beetle, because remember he's still Martian. So that really played like to his weakness. However, he phases through the ground and suddenly comes up. And that's where this lizard just plops down on his head and it grows into an elephant. So we found out that it was actually Beast Boy in disguise. And that's when Bumblebee appears and zaps Green Beetle. And then Wonder Girl comes, grabs him with her lasso. And Robin comes out and, enters the fray in the fight. And that's where pretty much the ties turn. And you gotta remember, guys, the ambassadors are watching this. They're just watching this, and you see one of the female ambassadors. She's just like, Green Beetle's being subdued. Like, send in Black Beetle, and the ambassador counters and say Black Beetle is guarding the key chamber. We don't need him. Everything like that. However, Zatanna finishes her like ceremony, and a little scarab goes on her head, and then it opens like this mystic like priestess you see in the back of her, and the Rocket puts down her force field, and that's where Green Beetle basically tries to shoot them, as well as Blue Beetle, and that's where Impulse grabs Green Beetle, who still has the lasso around him, and hurls Green Beetle at the fire. the shots that they fired at Zatanna, and it hits Blue Beetle. Green Beetle gets knocked out, and the Mystic, like this energy comes around Green Beetle and Blue Beetle, and knocks the Beetles offline for the Reach. And pretty much that's where we find out that pretty much the Reach is not controlling either Jaime or the Green Beetle. I'm forgetting his full name, guys. Apologize. And they not in control. And Jaime is just really grateful. The same thing with Green Beetle. We see him in his true Martian form. He's very grateful. Things like that. And that's where we get to realize how all this came about. The heroes they go into detail of what's going on, how when they found it, when they went on the first mission, everything like that. They also go into detail of showing the Blue Beetle's history. We got to see Dan Garrett, the first Blue Beetle, which was really, I applauded them for doing that. And of course they went into Ted Kord and why he didn't put on the scarab and everything like that. And all that good stuff that for Blue Beetle fans out there was probably just a mouth a fresh of greatness for any Blue Beetle fan out there. And also showing how Ted Kord died protecting the scarab from the knowledge from the light and everything like that, how he gave up his life, and then coming through when we saw what happened to Jaime and everything like that. That was really good. And however, Nightwing says a good, he's talking to the team and they talk about his good job back in Bloodhaven, and then that's pretty much where Ms. Martian, basically, is upset. Basically, Ms. Martian asks, good news about what? And she says they were able to get Blue Beetle and Green Beetle back on their side, and she says, is Connor around? And she's kind of upset because Connor is on a date with Wendy Harris, and she kind of like looks down, like kind of upset. Lagoon Boy, same thing. He's upset, and he's like, yeah, that's great. If you need me, I'll be upstairs watching TV. It was like, oh boy, But pretty much this was all happening like June, still in June, and then that's where we find out later on, guys, back in Binyala, I hope I'm saying that right, Bayala, the Queen Bee reveals that her goons were instructed to throw the fight. So that's why I was like, okay, that's why I thought it was too easy. And it also they go on to tell, like, she goes to tell them about the light, real plans can proceed against the team, about the Justice League, the Reach, and the team, and that's how it ends. But then my question is what plan? What's the real plan? What are the light's true goals? And things like that. It was really interesting, but it was a really good episode. I applaud them. This was just really good writing, in my opinion, for that Peter David came up with. He left you with a cliffhanger, which Mr. Peter David is really good at doing. He's probably one of the kings at cliffhangers, guys, and he left us thinking now, what is this plan? What are the plans? What's the real goal for the light? And when are we going to see it going to go? When is it going to go and everything like that? But I really enjoyed this episode. I was really glad to see that they told, the Blue Beetle's origin from the first to Ted Kord and now with Jaime. It was great. And it just makes you wonder, man. It's just like, it's so sad to see this show ending, but they've been delivering with these last episodes. With only 2 more episodes to go, I'm looking forward to seeing how they end this. The next episode 45, is called Summit, and Greg Wiseman is writing this episode, which airs next week. So I'm wondering what it is. But other than that, guys, you guys tell me what you thought about this episode. And other than that, this is Mount Vernon Kid. I'll see you guys later.